Plenty of moisture from the Gulf of Mexico that's going to help feed all of these storms. And notice we have a tornado watch. That means conditions are favorable for the development of a tornado. That is until 9 a.m. Central Time. And we did actually have some severe weather yesterday, continuing into today. We do have multiple flash flood warnings. I think flash flooding is going to be an issue. It just caught my eye there in the upper left-hand corner of our screen that Montgomery, Alabama had some lightning. That's something else that you have to watch about. So there you go. See that camera right there? It is popping off there into Montgomery, and all of this lightning within these thunderstorms. You're going to get very heavy downpours. Flash flood warning means that flash flooding is imminent or it's occurring, and this is going to take the day to get through because we still have moisture back to our west and that upper level energy that has to swing on through. So 65, 75, very heavy rainfall. Hope Hole, Montgomery, Tuskegee, we are all seeing flash flood warnings, and you see over towards Noonan, LaGrange. This is south and west of the Atlanta metro area where it's very heavy rainfall right now. Plenty of moisture here that's going to come in, and that means that we do have a lot of lift in the atmosphere. Stronger thunderstorms where you have all the ingredients coming together. So do watch here along the I-10 corridor, southern Alabama on into southern Georgia as well. Today, that threat stretches all the way really into the Carolinas. We could see some powerful weather. Torcon value of 3. The higher the number, the higher the threat. But again, it only takes 1. So keep that in mind. Don't brush this off as it, is on the lower end of the scale. We could have a few possible tornadoes. We do have some shear, and that shear, decent shear, could get things spinning in the atmosphere. And those thunderstorms of severe limits will be likely for us today. Watch how this goes on throughout the entire day. There's that upper level energy still in the back. You can see it kind of rotating, and so that's why we will see more showers, more storms, even as we head into dinner time. We are finally going to clear out tonight. The possibility of flooding exists anywhere from Alabama all the way up into North Carolina, and I'll tell you what, the winds with this will be quite fierce. In fact, even once all the precip is gone tomorrow, Molly, especially here into the higher elevations, winds gusting to 60 miles an hour tomorrow, which could lead to power outages.
And that's going to make it difficult to travel.
Coastal flooding, that's going to come along with that as well. Thanks to our virtual view technology, I'm standing in Boston Common. Enjoy the sunshine today because we will have heavy snow coming in. By the way, Boston has had no snow all month. That's going to change with Winter Storm Lorraine. Not only will we have the flakes at 1 to 2 inches an hour, we'll also have gusty winds. So you want to be extra careful on the roads, especially tomorrow morning, though this does last as we head into the afternoon hours. There are our totals for you. A nice solid 8 inches, though Boston is 21 inches below. In fact, several cities in the Northeast are 1 to nearly 2 feet below average here on snowfall. Double digits as we look down towards Connecticut and also into Rhode Island. Notice our temperatures, though. It is warm, and that is the problem here for a lot of cities. We'll start off as rain, and then we will be changing over to snow. And you can see that in Boston, 36. But if you go west out into Worcester and over back towards the mountainous areas there, we will see that heavy snow coming down. And it's going to be marginal. I mean, that's going to be some thick, wet snow. Notice it is out of here as we head into the evening hours. New York City, we are kind of right on that line, but again, it's been so warm that it's going to be kind of hard to get a lot of snow. We start off as rain, and then we eventually change over. Tomorrow morning's commute will be on the rough side for a lot of us, but again, afternoon into the evening hours, we do start to clear out. Heaviest snow will be back towards Pennsylvania. We could see 6-9 inches, maybe even more than that. But again, we have those warm temperatures, and that's just going to be a big problem for us here. The snow does come in the early morning hours, but as kids are heading home from school, I don't know if they're going to cancel school in these areas or maybe put you on a 2-hour delay. We do have to watch for that. Philadelphia, it's going to be weak sauce for us because we have 50 degrees for our temperatures as we head overnight. We'll be into the 40s. It's just too much warmth, and we don't get that cold air in enough in order to accumulate a lot of snow. It pulls out into the afternoon hours, and those temperatures are mild again. We don't have this big Arctic outbreak coming in, Molly. When we do get that cool air in, basically brings us back to average.
Steph saying it like it is. Weak sauce.
The 60-mile wind gusts we're going to see tomorrow once all the precip is gone, right? Sunny skies and very windy conditions could still take out power to some. We have winter storm warnings warnings from Massachusetts all the way down as we look into portions of Maryland and West Virginia. Look at this swath of 8 to 12 inches. That's pretty excessive. From Massachusetts all the way down into Pennsylvania, that is going to be a big-time snowfall. Now, the last 6-inch snow event we had in Boston was in February of 22. It was really 21, 22 was the last time we saw some of these bigger cities see these bigger snowfall totals. Now, Philly is going to see not a lot of snow, so don't get too excited about it. But this stuff is also going to be very heavy and wet. So our average ratio, snow-to-water ratio, we say 10 inches of snow will melt down to 1 inch of rain. If it's really, really wet, you don't need as much snow to get an inch of rain. So 7 inches of wet snow could melt down to 1 inch of rain. If it's dry and fluffy, like you see in the West a lot of times, that champagne powder, you need a lot more snow to melt down to 1 inch of rain. But we're going to be more closer to this like 7-to-1 ratio, if you will. Why? Because we have warm temperatures. And so with everything warm, it's a little bit juicier there. Our highs tomorrow are in the 30s and 40s, even 50s in D.C., where we won't get snow. We're going to get rain. This will climb up the I-95 corridor. We'll start as rain in a lot of our big cities, switch over to snow. I want you to notice our tightly packed isobars, too. Very gusty winds, gusting to 40 miles an hour. We could have coastal flooding here, but it does move out very, very quickly, which is quite nice. But there are your winds coming in. I think that travel is going to be a mess, especially into the morning hours here into the Northeast. We'll be right back with more forecasts. Now, how about the Midwest? Let's get you out the door. In this region of the country, show you what this system is going to bring to portions of the Midwest, the South Central Plains. Well, let's start you in the plains. That's where we're going to see our snowfall total. Past 2 days, decent snow, especially into the panhandle of Texas, Oklahoma getting it as well. A little bit closer in to show you some of the numbers. We saw anywhere from 6 to 8 to 14 inches of snow. That's pretty solid. And then this is going to make its way essentially here along the Ohio River Valley. So right now, this is basically the upper level energies. A cold pocket aloft, that cold air can keep the snow going all the way down to the ground. And then that is going to be rotating east. And notice that we do have rain that's making its way here along the Ohio River Valley and a little bit of snow on the backside of the system. And then it pulls out. The temperatures have just been so warm. So through tomorrow, very light snow in the plains, while we do have very heavy snow here into portions of the Northeast. And we are talking significant snowfall, 8 to 12 inches. And a lot of places need it, Molly, here along the I-95 corridor. People are really 1 to nearly 2 feet below average.
They really do. And I know
severe weather as well. We do have a tornado watch in effect until 9 o'clock Central Time, stretching from the parishes of Louisiana all the way over to the Georgia, Alabama border and down into Florida as well. This means conditions are favorable for the development of tornadoes. We do have flash flood warnings. We have plenty of moisture coming out of the Gulf of Mexico pumping up here. So there's going to be a lot of heavy rain. Not only do we have flash flooding, we're going to see some strong winds. And within these thunderstorms, you will get very heavy rainfall. Auburn over to Opelika, we do have a flash flood warning. But notice where we have these advisories, in the past 6 hours, we've seen nearly 6 inches of rain. So you're talking an inch an hour. I'm not saying that's exactly how it fell. Sometimes you get 2 inches an hour. Sometimes you get half an inch an hour. But I'm just averaging it out. That is a tremendous amount of rainfall. In fact, a month's worth of rainfall in some places here in the South. So here are the reports that we're seeing. Roads are impassable in some places. Alabama Highway 51, Lee Road 146, impassable due to flooding. Flooding as well here, and that is really the story all right around that I-85 corridor. Look at the moisture that we have in place. Dew point temperatures and temperatures are on the high side, and all of this is going to lift. There's loads of convection, too, and where you have convection, you're going to have heavier downpours, stronger winds, and that's just within the thunderstorm. The overall system system has very strong winds as well. Our best forcing, our best lift is where you see this orange shading on the map. And so that's where you could have some of those stronger storms. But that severe weather threat exists really anywhere from Alabama to the Carolinas. The biggest threat, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida into Alabama. Torcon value a 3 out of 10. The higher the number, the higher the threat of a tornado. And this does mean there's going to be severe thunderstorms, also a few possible tornadoes for us. So keep in mind, it only takes one in order to be very damaging and potentially deadly. It is rounds and rounds of rain. We have our surface feature. We still have, this is our upper level energy that's coming through, causing snow as well. It's going to take the entire day for the system to sweep through the entire southeast. So it will be a wet one. It'll be a cloudy one. Even as we head into the overnight hours, a few lingering showers. Tomorrow we are dried out, but we're going to see a lot of wind left over. Possibility of flooding extends for a large amount of real estate here. And I want to mention these winds because they're going to pick up as we head into the afternoon, 20, 30 miles an hour. Travel is going to be a problem. But even as we head into tomorrow, notice 11, 12, we still see winds 30, 35, 40, maybe even gusting 60 miles an hour. And that could take out the power, Molly. So even though the precip's gone, the wind is going to stick around.
And you add in all of those weaker
water. It looks like a hurricane, right, when it's washing in to those coastal areas. It's legit. Well, thanks to our virtual view technology, I'm standing in Boston Common. Enjoy the sunshine today before light rain moves in, and then we switch to snow. You know, Boston has had no snow all month. That's about to change as Winter Storm Lorraine brings very heavy snow, maybe 1 to 2 inches an hour possibly, and winds gusting to 40 miles an hour. You'll want to be extra careful on the roads, especially tomorrow morning. That's when it's going to be hitting us pretty hard. 8, 12 inches, so double digits here. If you essentially are like 90 southbound, the Berkshires, you'll get some heavier totals, right? A little bit of elevation down to Rhode Island and also into Hartford, Connecticut. Notice the temperatures. This is one of the reasons. If we had Arctic air in place, this would be a much different storm that would be cranking in because we start as rain. So there's a few hours here where we're not getting snow because of the warm temperatures, but then the snow comes in. This is going to be that heavy, wet, hard snow to shovel, heart attack snow as they call it, because it's so much energy and effort to shovel this snow. It does clear out as we head into the evening, which is great. But look at this, double-digit snowfall all the way down here into portions of Jersey and into Pennsylvania. We could see that as well. Again, it's all about the temperatures. So here at the surface, we're very, very warm. So we start as rain, and then we're going to do the changeover. And that will be happening for that morning commute. So this will be a shock to the system because we are below average by a foot, nearly 2 feet in several cities here in the Northeast. We need it. We're going to get it. Scranton southbound, that's where we'll see our higher totals. North of there up to Binghamton, it's going to be on the lighter side. And our timing shows rain overnight with that snow starting very early in the morning. So you will wake up to the snow. So do your preparations tonight, whether if you want to put your windshield wipers up, get some salt down to try to help with that scenario. And this storm is weak sauce from Philly down to Wilmington, D.C. It's going to be a rain event for you. You really get shut out from the snow. You're not going to get it. 50s as we head into the evening hours. We're only into the 40s as we go overnight. And so maybe some of those northern suburbs will get a little mix. But it's also a quick hitter, Molly, so it doesn't allow a lot of time for snow to accumulate.
Well, let's start you to where
on Tuesday, though the precip's gone, we still have very strong winds that could take out power. And then the storm makes its way into the Northeast. And look at all the advisors we have posted from Massachusetts down actually into Maryland and West Virginia. Huge swath, 8 to 12 inches for us here. That's significant. This will be a full-blown nor'easter. It's going to hit quickly, though. So if it was going a lot slower, we could see a lot more accumulate. It's been a while. We're talking 2022 since we've seen 6 inches in Boston, New York. It'll be close to 6 inches. Boston, we definitely get it. Philly, you're not going to get anywhere near 6 inches of snow, and it's going to be a heavy, wet snow. So if we look at the average, we usually say 10 inches of snow equals 1 inch of liquid precip. You can think about it, rain. You melt it down 10 inches of snow, you get 1 inch of rain. If you have very light, fluffy stuff like the champagne powder, 15 inches melted down equals 1 inch. There's not as much moisture in that one. And then where we have the wet snow, it's 7 to 1. You only need 7 inches of snow to get down to 1 inch of rain. This is due in part to the warm temperatures that we have in place for us here. And so that means that it's going to be a lot wetter, a lot juicier. By the way, look at our tightly packed isobars. It's going to be windy for us here into the northeast, but it does clear out quickly Tuesday night. Lingering showers here just off the rise up the I-95 corridor, makes its way into the northeast, right? But it has left a wake of snow into places like the plains. And we had decent snow here from Oklahoma on into Amarillo, Texas, and then, of course, as we look back towards the Four Corners as well. We're not going to have a ton more snow as it moves east. This is where we've seen the heaviest, and we're talking anywhere from 6 to 8 to 14 inches of snow. We've gotten over a feet. We do have a swath that can make its way here, especially through the Ohio River Valley. But I got to tell you, I think it's going to be a little bit on the weaker side. It's still coming down into Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, on into Arkansas, too. That's the upper level entity. And the roads are looking not great. They're a little bit messy, especially into southwestern Missouri. The rest of the state is actually looking quite good. But notice some of these numbers, 2, 4, 3 inches of snow that has come down. So it's there, and it is plowable, it is shovelable. But as it continues to move east, there's just so much warm air that it's kind of hard. A lot of us will see more rain than we'll see snow with this. And notice that is going to make its way through the evening hours, pushing away from the south, the Midwest, and into the Northeast. A closer look here at those snow totals and when it's coming through. Molly, it's an evening event, but our temperatures just don't even get really below freezing, so it's a little tough here.
It's like winter is trying, but not trying.
It's not only flooding, Jordan, but the threat for tornadoes, Florida on into Alabama. We do have a tornado watch. That means conditions are favorable for the development of tornadoes. We've got moisture, we've got shear, we've got lifting in the atmosphere, and that is what is causing not only the severe weather threat, but we do have flash flood warnings anywhere from Alabama all the way into Georgia already this hour, and this is going to be an all-day event for us here into the south. Heavy rainfall, that includes Auburn here. Of course, we got a university. We take that over eastbound, too, into basically riding along 85 north from Alabama up towards the Atlanta area. Very heavy rainfall. Over the past 6 hours, we have seen 4, 5, nearly 6 inches of rain, and that's just too much too fast. And there's more to come on top of that because we will see several rounds come through. So multiple storm reports, I should say, especially right along that I-85 corridor on either side of it. There are roads that are impassable because we have had so much rain coming down. Temperatures and dew point temperatures are up there, and so that means you've got a lot of moisture. We've also got forcing in the atmosphere, and that is showing us all the convection. That's that lift. And so where you have the convection, you're going to get lightning, you're going to get heavier downpours. And don't forget, we still have the upper level energy that's got to get through, that's back off to our west. That's going to kick off and spark more showers and thunderstorms as the whole system moves through. So today, where you see the deepest red is where we have the biggest possibility of some of those thunderstorms. Otherwise, we have, you know, a slight chance for storms stretching all the way into the Carolinas. A 3 on our Torcon. That means that we have a 3 out of 10. The higher the number, the higher the threat. But there have already been severe weather reports out of the system, meaning that all you need is one tornado, and we could get that here. A few tornadoes are certainly possible. And then severe weather, which just brings you damaging wind and hail as well. And it's not just the wind from the severe thunderstorms. The overall system is going to give us some big-time winds. And notice the rain still going over areas that are saturated. I know we need it, but this is a lot at one time. Some of these could really be booming. We get some of that daytime heating. That could kick storms off. And then we have that upper-level energy that still has got to get through. But we really do quiet down as we head into the evening hours, though the powerful winds with this last into tomorrow. So watch for flooding all the way through tomorrow morning. Even though the storm will clear out, sometimes there is a little bit of a lag. And notice the winds 20, 30, 35 miles an hour, and they continue to bump up 40, 50 miles an hour there into Wilmington. Now notice this is Tuesday. The weather is out and in the northeast, giving us a nor'easter. So you will see those sunnier skies, but still gustier winds that could take down the power in some locations, especially into the Appalachians. That's where we have high wind warnings. Molly, obviously this can be difficult to drive, and we expect some power outages.
Well, let's take a look at what happened yesterday.
New technology. I'm standing in Boston Common. Enjoy the sunshine before all the snow comes in. We have light rain. And by the way, Boston has had no snow all month, and then that rain is going to change to snow thanks to Winter Storm Lorraine, bringing gusty winds along with that. And I'll tell you what, tomorrow morning I think the commute is going to be exceptionally rough. Conditions improve through the day, but they kind of last through the afternoon hours. So I think overall, it's going to be tough around Boston and points south basically of 90, where we're going to see those double-digit snowfalls. And you know, there's someone that's always an overachiever. And one of the reasons that we start off as rain is because of the temperatures. It's too warm for the snow. So we miss out on a couple hours of that snow. Our totals would be a little bit higher. But 6 a.m., we're kind of in the rain, maybe a little mix here. And then the snow is going to be coming in. But if you look west of there, the rest of the state is seeing snow. It goes on until our lunchtime, and then as we head into the evening hours, this will be gone. Now, if we look south of that, we do have double-digit totals, perhaps in Long Island, Rhode Island, Connecticut, Jersey, Pennsylvania. A lot of us will see that double-digit snowfall. It's going to be wet, heavy snow. They call that heart attack snow when you're trying to shovel it. Maybe do a little warm-up before you go out and shovel. We transition over to snow as we head into tomorrow morning. And look at our temperatures. They stay essentially at or just above freezing for us. And so that means that things could be very, very wet and a little bit tricky with our accumulations, because you'll get that rain-snow mix and then fully switch over there. Notice that we do have 5-6 inches Scranton, and then south of that is where you do have some of those heavier totals. And our temperatures definitely above freezing for us, and they don't get much colder. We actually stay at average when we have our cool off, if you will, and then it goes out as we head into the afternoon hours. So hopefully the kids are still going to school in this, and then they can play outside and get all the energy out. After that, Philadelphia is kind of a weak sauce for us here, but a lot of these places, Molly, along the I-95 corridor are 1 to nearly 2 feet below average on snowfall. Philly's not going to chip away at that at much. We'll just get a little bit.
Just a little bit for you in Philly.
Take a look ahead in the T-Mobile coast-to-coast forecast and give you a peek at temperatures in your area as you plan to travel for the weekend. Because a lot of people will be doing a little traveling here. Traveling back, of course, today from Vegas. I'm assuming things are going to be quite intense at the airport. We do have showers in the southeast. This is our big storm that makes its way into the northeast tomorrow. After that, we get a bit of a break. We do still have storms, and you can see them stretching from the plains to the west, but it's not like we have this massive storm coming through. A little bit of rain and snow around the Great Lakes. Still action into the west for us. Friday, it's the center of the country, but overall, notice the temperatures too. No huge Arctic outbreak all the way into our Saturday. A lot of us still just going back to average or even slightly above average. Lots of weather sticking around in the west. But the winds are still going to be super strong in the south tomorrow, 50, even gusting to 60 miles an hour at higher elevation. That could take out the power in some spots. Then it all rides up the I-95 corridor. And we do have advisories stretching anywhere from Massachusetts towards, West Virginia into Maryland. A huge swath. Look at this swath of 8 to 12 potential for us here. It's pretty intense, and a lot of us need it. 1 to nearly 2 feet below average on snowfall. In fact, the last time some of these cities in the Northeast saw a 6-inch snow event was back in 22, January, February. I'll tell you what, it was 21 for Philadelphia and Philly. We're not going to get anywhere near 6 inches. We still have very little snow coming. The snow is actually going to be very heavy because of the warm temperatures. There's going to be more of a moisture content to it. So typically, we say 10 to 1. Have you heard that before? Meteorologists say it. You can take 10 inches of snow, melt it down to 1 inch of water. Well, if you have really fluffy light stuff, a lot of times you see it in the west, 15 inches of snow will melt down to 1. But this snow is going to be wet and have a lot of moisture in it. So we're talking a 7-to-1 ratio there. When does it all come in? Well, tonight it gets into D.C. with the rain. Then we get rain into New York as well. And we will see Boston rain-snow mix switches over by tomorrow morning into snow. And notice these white lines. We're going to see windy conditions here into the Northeast with this system, too. And those always take a minute to really wind down. But the bulk of the precip will be out by tonight. Winds 20, 30, 40, 50 miles an hour. We're going to see coastal issues here with that water that is going to be pushed ashore by some of these winds. And there are your coastal flood advisories from Maine all the way down there into the mid-Atlantic as well. And then those river gauges are forecasted to go up with all of this rain. A lot of New Year's resolutions have fallen by the wayside, but if you are resolved to get into the out there more, one state is making that easier for you.
Yeah, you got the Vermont Hut Association helping to bring people outdoors by making it easier for you to stay out in the backcountry. Joining us now this morning is Executive Director R.J. Thompson. Thanks so much for being with us. And I guess get into the what led you guys to co-found the Vermont Huts Association and why we're doing this.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. Yeah, we got started up
A bit more. Do you have to make a reservation for one of these huts? Where do the huts exist? Walk us through that whole process.
Certainly.
Those that we're looking at, looks like a lot of people have big smiles on their face. What has the response been for this whole program?
Yeah, it's been great.
Thank you so much, Vermont Huts Association. We appreciate it.
Thanks again.
So, I mean,
Looked fun.
And they look nice and cozy. It's really all you kind of
Like a full-on house, Molly. Like you go there and you're good to go.
You really are.
Hey, all the way on the West Coast, made its way through the Rockies into the Central Plains, where it did drop some decent snow for us. Look at these totals, anywhere from Oklahoma to Texas, also into Colorado and New Mexico, anywhere from 6 to 8 to 14 inches of snow there into the panhandle of Texas. We do have advisories that spread through the Ohio River Valley, but I got to tell you, overall, there's going to be a lot of rain with that. This is the upper level entity that's spinning around, cold pocket aloft, better chance to get some of that cold air since our surface temperatures are so mild and so warm. But you can even see that counterclockwise flow of this system, and it is giving us some bad road conditions, especially in the southwestern portions of Missouri. That's where it is the worst of it. Notice our totals here, anywhere from 2 to 4 inches. Again, not super heavy as it moves east, though it will get a lot bigger as it heads into the northeast. But for its trek across the Show Me State, moving into spots in Tennessee, it's going to be on the lighter side with that snow. And it moves through very fast, which doesn't give it a lot of time to put a lot of snow on the ground. So overall, Molly, with the warmer temperatures and the quick movement of it, we are talking, more in that 1 to 3 type inch range.
Wet snow, just like what we're going to see in